Imagine a town so small that nearly everyone knows each other's name, a town where people wave to each other from their front porches, a town where locking your doors isn't always a priority because nothing ever happens. Now imagine waking up one morning to discover that one of your neighbors has been brutally murdered, and the killer is still somewhere among you. This is the story of the murder of Sharron Erickson. In the summer of 2003, the village of Colon, Nebraska, was home to roughly 100 residents. It was the kind of place where people knew each other's routines, families, and histories. Crime was rare. Violent crime was almost unheard of. Among the town's most respected residents was 66-year-old Sharron Erickson. After spending decades working for the county treasurer's office, she had built a reputation as a hard-working and trustworthy member of the community. She lived alone and led a quiet life. To those who knew her, she seemed like the last person who would ever become the victim of a violent crime. But on the night of June 29th, 2003, something changed. On June 30th, 2003, relatives became concerned when Erickson failed to follow her normal routine and missed expected contact with family. Friends and neighbors checked on her when they found her deceased in the garage of her own home. The scene was bizarre as she was lying in a pool of blood. A handgun was found near her head, but was it really a suicide or was someone trying to make it look like a suicide? The investigators found some strange details in the house, which was leading the case to a homicide rather than a suicide. The first thing they noticed was the phone line had been cut and the door alarm was also triggered. But what would be the reason for this incident? No signs of theft. She was such a lovely lady according to the people of the town, so what could have been the reason? The autopsy revealed a much more brutal case. The autopsy revealed that Erickson had been the victim of a violent attack. There were marks on her body suggesting that she did fight for her life but couldn't do much about it. But the question which was still unsolved was who killed her and why. The police were not able to find a clue, and it was creating a panic among the people living in the town, as most of them believed that the killer had to be someone living in the town only which had a population of just 100. For months, investigators had nothing. No murder weapon, no eyewitnesses, no suspect. Then a single piece of evidence hidden within the crime scene changed everything. The breakthrough came when investigators found a DNA from the crime scene of a resident of the same town living just behind the house of Erickson, James Mars, a resident of Colon, Nebraska, and he was living in this area from years. But why would he kill Erickson? He was arrested and, when detectives finally confronted him, they expected answers. What they got instead was a confession that shocked the town. Mars confessed he was drunk that night and planned to rob Erickson while she was sleeping. But when Mars entered the house, Erickson woke up, and she confronted Mars with a handgun, but it was the moment which turned this into a violent incident. They both struggled to overpower each other, but at the end, it was Erickson who had to lost her life for the greediness of Mars. After almost living in the same town for 10 months after killing Erickson, he was finally arrested. But there was one detail that continued to bother investigators. If robbery was the motive, why was money reportedly left behind? Why did the attack become so violent? And why didn't the killer simply run away when he was discovered? The big thing about this case was that the danger had not come from a stranger passing through town. It had not come from a notorious criminal. It had come from someone living nearby, someone they thought they knew. James Mars eventually received a life sentence. The case was solved. But for many people, the story remains a reminder that even the quietest places can hide dark secrets, because sometimes the most frightening crimes are not committed by monsters hiding in the shadows. Sometimes they are committed by the neighbor next door. Thank you for listening.